Would you buy a house where a serious crime had been committed? For some homeowners, that's part of the thrill of signing the paperwork. Over the years, there have been numerous homes where scary events have taken place. From the house on CeeLo Drive, where the Manson family carnage took place, to the Amityville horror house. If you're looking for an affordable house with a large, albeit disturbing history, look no further than these 5 killers' homes that were up for sale. Number 5. Stephen Griffiths was a serial killer active in the Bradford area between June 2009 and 2010. Griffiths chose that specific apartment because it was only $360 a month and was close to the city center and gave him easy access to sexual workers. He would lure these workers back to his apartment with the promise of work, only to attack them and kill them with a crossbow. In the year that he was active, he's known to have claimed the lives of 3 women between the ages of 31 and 43. At first, their disappearances were dismissed due to their sex worker status. A break came in the crossbow cannibal case when CCTV from Griffith's apartment showed him chasing down his final victim, Suzanne Blamires. This escalation in Griffith's behavior showed that he had reached his peak. Not content with just killing Suzanne, Griffiths is then seen to be standing over her body, giving the middle finger to the camera, realizing that he'd been spotted. He made it very clear that it didn't bother him. When the landlord of the building was reviewing footage of the previous few days, he came across the chilling clip. At first it seemed surreal, but reality hit and soon the police were called and he was arrested. He was sentenced to life imprisonment for the murders of 43-year-old Suzanne Rushworth, 31-year-old Shelley Armitage, and 36-year-old Suzanne Blamires. When asked to make a statement in court, he simply said crossbow cannibal. After he'd been sent to prison, the landlord replaced the kitchen and bathroom and gave it brand new carpets. It wasn't long until the apartment was up on the market for rent and within the perfect price point for students. In 2017, a student by the name of Azarias Fontaine, who was studying at the university, moved into the apartment. He told the Mirror, "I can see why it would freak out a lot of people, but not me. Just because some murders took place here doesn't make it a bad place." Number 4. Helmshore Rosendale, nestled in Lancashire, in the northwest of England, known as a peaceful and quiet village, known as a place you'd raise your children, while still only being 16 miles away from the hustle and bustle of Manchester. The illusion of safety and security was shattered in January of 2016 with the murder of 60-year-old Sadie Hartley. Sadie, along with her partner Ian Johnston, lived in what is described in the estate agent's listing as a substantial 5-bedroom detached family home set in a highly regarded woodland setting. Originally built by Hurstwood, these family homes are ideal for the modern professional family, being close to local amenities and countryside and a short drive to the motorway network. While it seemed that Sadie and Ian were living the perfect life, jealousy was brewing underneath the surface. Ian's ex-partner, 35-year-old Sarah Williams, was desperate to get him back in her life, so desperate that it drove her to kill. Sarah, along with her accomplice Katrina Walsh, planned out what they thought would be the perfect murder. After Sarah had sent a series of emails to Ian begging for him back, to which he ignored, she saw red and decided to take Sadie out of the equation. On January 14, 2016, Sadie was home alone when Sarah, along with Katrina, knocked on the door of the home the pair shared. Sadie answered the door when the pair attacked her. Sadie was home alone that evening because her husband Ian was on a skiing trip and her children were out with friends. Luckily for Sadie and her family, there's no such thing as a perfect crime, and the duo had left behind enough evidence for police to track them down. Sarah and Katrina were found guilty of the murder of Sadie Hartley and both given life sentences. The judge added that Katrina would have to serve the 25 years minimum for her part in the murder, who described it as planned and rehearsed down to the finest detail. Completely heartbroken and unable to come to terms with what had happened to them, Sadie's children and her partner Ian were no longer able to live in the house that once held so many happy memories. Just a month after Sadie had been murdered, the house went up for sale with an asking price of a whopping $550,000 for the 5-bedroom dream home. Unable to shake the reputation of the crime that had occurred within its walls, the asking price was eventually lowered by $50,000, and it appears to have now been sold. Number 3. Al Capone is one of the most notorious gangsters in US history. Before he made his millions, he bought a cozy 2-unit house on South Prairie Avenue in the Park Manor neighborhood of Chicago. With 2,820 square feet and 6 bedrooms, the house was the perfect hiding place for an up-and-coming Capone. It provided enough room for him and his wife to start their lives together, while also providing his mother with a place to live. Capone moved there in August of 1923 from New York when he took on the job of helping Chicago's crime boss, Johnny Torrio. He left his mother and wife to decorate the house however they pleased, but soon said he felt like a prisoner in his own home, surrounded by velvet and drapes. The house on South Prairie Avenue also apparently had a set of secret tunnels running to different parts of the house. This was perfect for Capone, who was in the bootlegging business, meaning he could transport goods and people in and out of his property without being detected. When Capone passed away in 1947, the Mafia took over ownership of the property, who then sold the building on to someone else. Over the years, it's exchanged owners many times, with the last recorded sale being for around $226,000, which is a steal. According to the USA Today article, the property has now been foreclosed and should be back on the market sometime soon. Number 2. Jeffrey Dahmer is perhaps the world's most well-known killer. He's responsible for taking the lives of 17 people between 1978 and 1991 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. While Dahmer is associated with Milwaukee, his family relocated to Akron, Ohio, where Dahmer would go on to spend many of his formative years. From the age of 8 until he finished high school, Dahmer lived at 4480 Bath Road in Akron, Ohio. He was said to be an isolated child who didn't enjoy playing with others and spent a lot of time at home with his father, who was a chemist. Jeffrey was fascinated by science, and his father was pleased that Jeffrey might also become a chemist like himself. The Dahmer family home on 4480 Bath Road is available for purchase for an estimated $327,000, and you can rent it for an eye-watering $8,000 a month. For $8,000, you can spend time in the very house where Dahmer would experiment with animals, wanting to know what they look like on the inside. It's no secret that this house in Akron, Ohio is harboring some dark energy. The question is, would you be brave enough to buy the childhood house of the world's most twisted serial killer? Number 1. The Dahmer house in Akron, Ohio isn't the only childhood home that's now up for sale. Eric and Lyle Menendez took the lives of their parents on August 20th, 1989, by use of a firearm that they'd purchased 15 days earlier at a sporting goods store. Eric and Lyle were just 21 and 18 at the time, and when news hit that such a well-off and affluent family had been affected, the residents of Beverly Hills were shocked. Was it a robbery gone wrong? Had Jose and Kitty annoyed the wrong people? Or was this random, and could any of them be next? It turned out it was none of those, and Eric and Lyle had killed their parents out of sheer greed. During their later court trials, they claimed to have been mistreated by their parents and had snapped, killing both of their parents in a fit of rage. But that doesn't explain why they'd purchased guns used to kill their parents 15 days earlier. The true motive for their wrongdoings was for money. Eric and Lyle were set to inherit a large sum of money from their parents, along with the beautiful Beverly Hills mansion that they were living in at the time. In the immediate aftermath of their parents' death, the brothers received an insurance payout of over $600,000. They also had access to their parents' bank accounts and assets, as they were the two next of kin. The brothers began spending like money was going out of fashion. Lyle bought himself a sports car along with a Rolex watch, while Eric hired himself a full-time tennis coach. The pair were often jet-setting off to luxurious holiday destinations, such as the Caribbean, which made everyone around them very suspicious. The Menendez family home, located at 722 North Elm Drive in Beverly Hills, California, comes with 7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, and sits on a total area of 9,000 square feet. With an estimated price tag of $5.4 million, it's certainly one of the most expensive homes in the area, not just because of its extravagance, but because of its dark and murderous history. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But I've been Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.